welcome to All That Matters, a family life program sponsored by the Coconut Grove Seventh-day Adventist Church. We are your hosts,
Thomas George
and Marilyn George. The objective of All That Matters is to equip our audience on how to manage various family dynamics. The lessons will be derived from the experiences of our guests. And today we have with us Pastor George's Fleurimonds and his beautiful wife, Sonja Fleurimonds.
Hooray!
Pastor Fleurimonds is on the record saying that one of his biggest regrets is not having his beautiful wife, Sonja, not pursue her medical dream. So let's find out if he has done anything about that matter since, and what keeps their marriage relevant, and much more. So welcome, guys, to All That Matters. We are happy to have you this evening.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you for having us. It's been a long time, so thank you.
Thank you. And our first question and that's to both of you, okay? Not taking into consideration that you have found each other, what was so intriguing about married life that you wanted to be a part of?
So you want to go first, or you want me to go first?
You can go first.
Okay, let's do it like that. So just a little bit of background information. I come from a single parent home. My mom raised me along with my grandmother, my brother, and I. And so, you know, I wasn't brought up in a home that exhibited what a marriage was like. So for me personally, before I met my husband, marriage wasn't something that an ideal for me, not something that I strived for, not something that I said, wasn't a life goal that I set for myself. And so and I know this sounds so cliche, it was something about my husband that when I met him and we started dating, I realized, wow, this is someone that I do want to spend the rest of my life with. And it was just an experience that I had never experienced before. And, you know, God truly revealed to me, like, this is the person that he wanted me to be with. And so I put all my other, conceptions behind and, pre-notions and, allow God to lead the relationship. And that's where we are today, married for going on 8 years this December.
Wow. Pastor Fleurimonds?
Well, mine is the opposite. I grew up in a two-parent home and a big family. It was 5 children, 2 parents, and just the whole family atmosphere was something that I always loved. Hearing the stories of my parents that they had before we were born, how they grew up together in the same church. Just the life experiences and coming together, making decisions to, build on their relationship, to create something that was lovely. So that's something that I always wanted to do with myself, with someone else, to build on something positive and to grow. And, Sonia was the right person. Like she says, we prayed about it and God told us that she was the one for me, told me she was the one for me. And definitely.
Well, with both of you saying that God more or less led you to each other, we can ask how confident it is that you found the right person, because with God in the center, that is a plus right there, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, knowing what you know now, you have been married for about 8 years. Knowing what you know now about each other, if you were to recommit yourself to each other again, would you?
I would have done it earlier. I would have done it in my mid-20s instead of my 30s.
That's fine for you. I think I'm fine how we did it. I think that's, for me, something that was really important, especially because I didn't come from a home that exhibited marriage, was for me to kind of establish myself as a young woman, as a young adult, prior to marriage, knowing who I was and, the things that I enjoyed. And, before I got married, I had the opportunity to live by myself for between college and marriage for about 4.5 years. And that's a time that I'll never get back. We're married, we had, a child, so there's no living alone again. And so I was able to appreciate my singlehood, and also now I can appreciate my marriage. So for me, I wouldn't do it any differently. I mean, I was a little bit younger than he was
like much younger. 4 years?
Yeah, we're 4 years, but I was 27 when I got married. So there's no way I would want to be any younger than 27.
Okay. So it's just the timing is perfect for you.
Yeah, for me. He was 31. So, for him.
Okay. But in ministry, right? Both of you come across many diverse men and women. What helps you stay focused on your commitment to each other and not yield to temptation? What helps keep your marriage relevant to each other, your relationship relevant to each other?
Well, I think foremost, we're actually friends. We are married and we are, spouses, but we are actually friends. And so for me, first of all, there's nothing that I can't tell him. And it's pretty funny now that we've been in close, we're not in quarantine, but lockdown, we're spending a lot more time with each other. We can pick up on things that we never picked up on before, which is just so interesting. Going 8 years into marriage, things are still still new to us. But for me, he's actually my best friend, and so I can't keep anything from him. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing is to just generally my commitment to my family. Like I said, I grew up in a single parent home. I would never want to do that to my child. This is a commitment that I made for life. And I don't think there's anything that could ever happen that I wouldn't be able to, we wouldn't be able to talk through or work through. And so there's no need to, the distractions are going to lead us nowhere. So, for me, that's never a question because I realize it's not worth it at all for me.
Okay. Is this the same for you?
Yeah, I mean, just simply put, I think just being satisfied. Like when you pray for something and you believe God has given it to you, then it's your gift, right? And so you're not looking to upgrade, right? So I think one of the things that helped us, I would say, was premarital counseling. And premarital counseling, you get a lot of gems that help you along the way. And one of the things is that I remember from I don't know if you remember this, but I remember that is, that is never trying to look for the right person. It's always about you becoming the right person for your spouse, right? And so I think that as we strive to be the right person for each other, that every day becomes a new experience, and it keeps the marriage somewhat fresh, So.
I love that.
Then sorry, just real quick before we get off of this, another thing is to, which is just practical. You have to be intentional about what you're doing. And, there's just certain things that we will not allow ourselves, certain positions we won't allow ourselves to be in. Yeah. My husband's a minister, and just off back, he's never, as much as he can help it, intentionally being in a possibly compromising situation. We're constantly on the phone. Hey, I'm on my way home, or this is where I am, and we're just very intentional so that even the possibilities that we would have never thought of in 1,000 years that may become a compromising situation, we've already established these things that allow us to kind of prevent those.
Buffers, we shun their parents. Right?
Yes.
So you mentioned that you are always on the phone, like being away at work or wherever, Can you tell us some of the things do you say to each other during the day, since you all are not together most of the time? What are some of the things that you say to each other during the day on the phone?
I try to make her laugh as much as possible. I try to be. That's one of the things I do. I think I have the gift of making her laugh, and they're like one of the things we do. Like even on social media, if we come across a meme that we think the other person is going to laugh, we send it to each other. So stuff like that. We just trying to keep it fresh. And lately we're together 24/7. Literally 24/7 now.
Right.
So we, if we don't make each other laugh, we're going to make each other cry. So I choose to laugh.
So tell us, during the course of your relationship, when did you develop complete, absolute trust in each other? And was it a particular experience that led you there?
I, for me, I think it was gradual. I think that trust is earned, right?
Right.
Trust is earned, and trust is also given. I know that sounds like a two opposite things, right? So you give your trust away to someone that you're married to, because that's a part of the marital process, right? You trust, you give her your trust, but also th- you giving away your trust. That's just foundational. Every day, every month, every week, every year that passes by, that you are able to build upon that, like more trust is earned. I don't know if that makes sense. So it's kind of like a house. You have the foundation, and then you build from that. And I think for us, it's just being able to be honest. And even when there are times where honesty is not, and I mean keep it 100, even when honesty may not be, you're trying to spare someone's feeling, we always find a way to be honest about those particular things when we're ready to have that conversation, right? So that's how I think you're able to build trust. Yeah.
The same for Sandra?
Of course, it was a gradual thing, but I think for me, my wedding day was my defining moment. For me, of course, you and everything, you have your questions and your hesitations, and you're wondering, you trust in God and believe in Him, but still human nature comes about, and you question. But on my wedding day, I surrendered it to God. I surrendered my trust and my love to God, and I told God, I said, what I'm getting myself into, and so that was that was a defining moment. And like my husband said, it's earned as well as it's given. And as we've been married, we've been able to see each other's weaknesses as well, each other's strengths and each other's weaknesses. And so things prior to marriage that I guess I would say, not that I couldn't trust him. I'm just able to recognize his weaknesses and strengths and able to complement them. And so still 100% trust, but I know where he needs help, or he knows where I need help. And so that allows our relationship to congeal and to, work better as one.
Going back to the previous question, you mentioned 24/7 being together. We know since COVID, domestic violence has went up. How do you handle that? How do you manage being together 24/7?
Not have friction, or if you have friction, how do you resolve it?
Yeah, we just believe never to go let the sun go down on our anger. Like, even if she doesn't want to talk to me, we're gonna talk. And when I don't want to talk to her, we're gonna talk. And even when it's friction, I'm both of us are humble enough to find an overture to make the other person happy, right? Make her smile, make him laugh, whatever the case is, to tear down the barriers so that effective communication can happen. So, I think that's I think that's it for me. I don't know.
Are you saying that in the moment, right? You are actually able to say something to help mitigate the negative feelings? Is that what you're saying?
Not necessarily in that moment, and that's something that we did have to learn from each other, is that I do need we need our time individually to process what's happening. So whether it's one of us going for a walk, whether it's one of us retiring to another room, sometimes depending on what it was, we just may need a moment to gather ourselves and to actually reevaluate the conversation and where things kind of went astray, what part you had to play in it, and how next time you can prevent it from getting that way.
And also, I think personality. I mean, honestly, I'm just not a person. My wife will tell. I'm not arguing. I'm not gonna argue. I'm just not. So I will get quiet. I will just say, okay. If I sense that her temperature is up, and I know that if I match that, it's not gonna go anywhere. So I just really sometimes I try to go the opposite route. It doesn't happen all the time, but I say most of the time.
Yeah, I would definitely
Yeah, I think 99% of the time.
He's the de-escalator.
You guys have a fairly young marriage. Um, because of this incident, and I'm sure other incidents in the past, do you guys get the chance to talk about mortality and how it will affect you if it will, God forbid, to happen?
Yeah, I think after the passing of our mothers, so there's certain conversations that sometimes you don't want to have, but when you experience the tragedy and the fallout of it, it becomes so much easier to have it. You have it and you move on, right? So, and for me, for instance, every year I have to renew our life insurance policies, and there used to be a time where, literally, I had everybody on that as beneficiaries, and then we had the conversation. No, if you die, 100% comes here. And then from that conversation, we're able to say, okay, well, if I die, you get 100%. Then this is what we'd like to do for you to do. Pay off my father's house. So do this or do that and stuff like that. And so we've had that conversation, and we're not planning on dying, but we do know that we have our offspring, and we want to make sure that when we do die, if any one of us die, or if both of us die, that he's taken care of fully. So I think now, as he's 2 years old, one of the major discussions we're having is who's going to take him if we both die. So we've been in serious negotiations for the last 6 months, 7 months.
A good little while now.
Yeah.
A good little while now.
Okay, so baby Louis, Prince Louis, is in the picture.
Literally.
How did he affect your relationship in any way, negative, positive? How did he affect the relationship?
It was positive. I just think, I think so. There are levels to relationships, right? From courting to marriage, your communication skill has got to improve. I think for us, once Louis was born, our communication skills had to go to the next level. In other words, there are certain things that sometimes you take for granted that your spouse would know, and unless you express that to that person, you never know. So
they're not gonna get it.
They're not gonna get it. So for me, I'm that person. I need everything to be expressed to me. All right. And sometimes I don't realize that maybe Sonia may not. She's a first-time parent, so we're both in the dark on certain things. But I think for us, I think having Lois has allowed us to be more communicative, more so than we were before, even though before we were quite communicative. I think now it's just a different kind of communication. We actually have to sit down and discuss everything from lunch to walks to bedtimes to all kinds of putting parameters, parenting styles. I mean, everything. So, I could say between now and 8 years ago, when I was living by myself, when everything I had to do by myself on my own, I think it's night and day. I think with Lois now, it just makes us have to really lean on each other a little bit more.
And I think it also, for me, it's been, I've just appreciated my husband more. Like, I realized how much I actually do need him, for one. And then two, just the love. Like, when you literally look at your child and realize this is a child that has come from your union, it's hard not to love your spouse.
All right, well, thank you very much for watching All That Matters. When we come back, we are going to go into our segment, How Well Do You Know Me?
All right.
Well, good day to you. I have been asked to answer a very, very interesting question. And I come humbly positing to you that I don't have all the answers, but I'm going to try to attempt as best as possible to answer this question. I want to thank the Georges and those folk at the Coconut Grove SDA Church for all that you're doing for the community. But here's the question. When the Bible talks about being unequally yoked, is it referring to race also? That's the first part. The second part of the question. I am a Hispanic, but my husband is not. We've been married for a while now, but he is a 2-minute man, so I'm always left unsatisfied. I'm living a miserable life, and it has spilled over in every aspect of our marriage. There is no peace at home. I'm a young lady. What are my options? P.S. Please do not suggest pills, as he is a short guy with big pride. It's a very interesting question, and one that I never thought I would answer on camera. But let me try to answer, and I can assure you I'm not going to be able to give you the perfect answer today, but let me answer the first one. The first one is, when the Bible talks about being unequally yoked, is it referring to race also? You are quoting from 2 Corinthians chapter 6 and verse 14 that says that we should not be unequally yoked with unbelievers. Now, I want you to understand the key part of this passage is not the yoke, but the unbelievers section. It never said anything to us about don't be unequally yoked, or that you're unequally yoked if you are with someone of a different ethnicity or a different race or of a different culture. You could be of the same culture but have a separate belief, and you are unequally yoked. So the unequally yoked aspect, and I'm sure you understand, and for brevity, I'm not going to go into the examples relative to what yoking means. But the understanding is, if you are going to be married and in a relationship with someone, you guys have to have the same belief system. It means, therefore, that if you have the same belief system, when one chooses to go one way, the other will go that way, because that's the belief system. If you are yoked together in marriage and you do not have that understanding together in the same path, on the same road, you are walking and fighting against each other. And so when it says unequally yoked, it's not talking about interracial or racial or cultural issues. Let's use a few examples, for instance. In Deuteronomy chapter 7, verses 1 to 6, according to BibleInfo.com, and you could read this right there for yourself, it tells the Israelites to destroy all the inhabitants of the Canaan land and not to intermarry with them, because they would turn your sons away from following me, that they may serve other gods. So that was the issue. Don't marry them, because they're going to lead you away from following me. That's what God said. It's the same thing here in 2 Corinthians 6 and verse 14. Now, Moses' wife was of another race. In Numbers chapter 12, 1 to 15, Aaron and Miriam were punished for criticizing this interracial marriage. The book of Ruth tells a delightful story of a foreigner who became part of the lineage of Christ. The harlot Rahab, also of another nation, is included in the lineage of Christ, as recorded in Matthew chapter 1. Colossians chapter 3 and verse 11 makes it clear that from God's perspective, all are one in Christ. So when it comes to unequally yoked, it's nothing to do with interracial marriage. Now, to the second part of your question, and I don't want to sound brash or even give you the impression that I am not respecting and paying credence to your question. I am. But you mentioned in your question that your husband has failed in all these areas. He's of a 2-minute disposition. You mentioned that your husband is short and he has an ego. So you've mentioned all those things, but I didn't see where you mentioned at all your challenges. What issues do you bring to the relationship? Because the honest truth is, maybe those things are evident, but what is it about you that may be evident to him that you may not know? I suggest to you that if you're going to work on the relationship, I'm not going to recommend a pill to you, because there's no pill that will solve the issue. The only part that will make, or the only thing, that will make your relationship whole is when you both recognize the importance of finding God first individually, and then as you grow together with God, you will grow closer to each other. And so whatever weaknesses or shortcomings you may have or your husband may have, the solution for you to do is to try to complement him, not compete with him. Try to strengthen his weakness, not weaken his weak areas. That's what your role is in the relationship. So if you have to find out and ask yourself the question, why, if he has a physical challenge, why would you then criticize him or put him in a position of being demeaned or being lessened and being cheapened when he has no control over it? Yes, you are young, and I suspect from your answer, your question, that he may be older than you are. But you chose to marry him even though he's older than you are. And so now, recognizing all of that, what you have to do is to ask the Lord to help you both to understand and love each other. Remember this. Today, he may be a 2-minute man. Tomorrow, you may not even be a momentary person. It could be flipped. And what happens if it is flipped? I am not belittling your needs. You're a young person, you have needs, you have desires. That is true. But you've got to also remember the purpose of sex in a relationship is not for personal pleasure. If sex in your relationship is for personal pleasure, then you are not truly enjoying the benefits of marriage. You enjoy each other. It's never just for your benefit. It's for the benefit of both of you. And I can assure you, if he enjoys you in more ways other than sex, and if you enjoy him in more ways other than sex, when the time comes for sex, it will be fulfilling. I pray that God will bless you. And I pray that you'll be strengthened. And I pray that you will start by not feeling that your relationship is not blessed by God. Because I believe that as long as you've come together and asked God's his blessing upon your relationship, he will bless you. And believe me, he will work it out. That's the only pill that I recommend. The pill of the presence of God in your relationship. May God bless you. And I'll be praying for you.
Welcome back to All That Matters, and our special guest today is Pastor and Mrs. Sonja Fleurimonds, and we are going into the segment called How Well Do You Know Me?
And this question goes to both of you. When did you last say I love you to each other? Write it down and just show us the answer, please. When did you last say I love you to each other?
Go ahead. Back, pull back, pull back.
That was not working.
Oh,
Yes,
there you go.
you said today, okay.
Okay, I was wrong
What do
then.
you have?
Say.
Can you,
Okay, just tell us.
yesterday.
No, I said this morning.
I was probably sleeping.
No, today after I said that you did a good job cleaning up the house, and thank you, I love you.
Oh, but that was yesterday.
That was today.
Okay, sure.
All right,
That was the house yesterday?
let's move on.
You had told me yesterday that you enjoyed dinner.
Okay.
That was yesterday.
Okay.
This morning, in his defense, this morning we were kind of busy. Louis had a doctor's appointment, so you know.
All right.
Okay.
Next one, Sister Fleurimonds. What is his favorite color?
His favorite.
Pastor, write his
Color.
favorite color.
Ah, that's easy.
Pastor, write your favorite color down too. Let's say that, please.
Say so.
Green.
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 Okay, and Pastor he has green too, okay? All right.
All right, very good.
Okay.
Very good.
If you move to can you move it to the left? Let's see how it works.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yes,
go.
that's
There you go.
right. Yes, yes, yes.
There's the angle.
That's it, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Who is the most spiritual in the house?
That's a very easy one.
No, easy, very easy.
Yes, I see
I saw that one.
Okay, and Sonja is pointing to you, so All right.
George. Okay,
Joe,
yeah, we got
okay.
it. We got it. All right, so far that's 2 out of 3.
Okay.
All right, next one. Who is the best driver?
Yeah.
I know we don't even have to write it again.
We didn't even write the answer to that one.
Yeah.
Okay,
This is
we
big.
fixed it.
It's
Yeah,
him.
okay.
It's him.
All right, now let's see. Let's just ask this one. In your house, the stove, is it a gas stove or electric?
Electric.
All right.
Okay.
Good. Very good. Next one. Who makes breakfast? Okay, I see that.
Right. Who makes it?
He makes breakfast. He's always up before I am.
Wow, actually,
Very
this
good.
was our next question. Who gets up first? And that is
Oh, yeah.
Pastor. Okay. Okay. Have you ever had an argument that resulted in one of you sleeping in another room? Yes or no?
Another room?
Uh-huh.
Argument? See another room? I'm not sure, but I'll say yes. I mean, it's 8 years of marriage.
Okay.
Pretty sure.
Yeah. Yes.
Said yes too.
It was one time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
All right, and this one goes for both of you. What time of the day was Prince Louis born? What time of the day was he born?
I was about to say, you don't know that?
Okay.
Okay. That's a lot of writing.
Okay, I put 7:30 p.m.
Oh, wow. Me too.
7:30 p.m.
Ah,
5/17/20.
Yeah, 7:30.
All right, very good.
Okay.
Very good.
Who is the disciplinarian in the house?
That's a very easy one.
Ah, Sonja, that's you. Okay.
Me. Yes.
Okay. On your honeymoon, what was breakfast? What did you have for breakfast?
Spanish food? Puerto Rican food? Puerto.
You're saying out. There's no point of writing it if you're going to say it out loud.
Okay, do you remember? Did you put anything down?
No, I have no idea.
I would say Puerto Rican food. Went to Puerto Rico. San Juan.
Okay.
I don't know.
I can't remember the exact
I
name.
don't know. Yeah, this exact name.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, next one. Who does most of the cooking at home?
Okay. Yes. Me.
Sonja, okay. Where did you go on your first date? I know that you said the first time you saw each other, it was in passing, but the actual date, you guys were interested in seeing each other, just having a relationship. Where did you go on your first date?
What was that? Do you remember? I remember. I'm trying to remember.
I think I remember. So on a first date, like we're dating.
Yeah, like you're dating.
Remember?
I think I do. You wrote it down?
No, because I can't I know, but I can't remember something about it, so I can't write it. I'm waiting for you.
Oh, okay.
Do you remember?
Yes. It was
Okay.
Mimi's.
No, that was not it.
Yep. You don't know.
It's not it.
Cafe.
That was not it. That was not it. No, that was not it. It says Mimi. Yeah, Mimi. No, that's not it.
What was it?
It was, we went to go see, was it the Wicked that we went to go see?
Was it a bar?
Wicked.
So for our first date, that took you to
I'm trying to tell you.
a play.
Listen, the bar was set high. You don't
There's
remember
no way I
that?
took you to a play on my first date.
You don't remember? You took me to.
That's too much for a first date. That's too much for a first date.
So what happened was, so yes, he did take me. Yeah. So what are you talking about?
Maybe I did.
Yeah, we went to Wicked, and then after we went to
Blue Man Group.
No, someplace, the place to eat. I can't remember. So what happened
you
was
about that with the fondue.
No, that was after Wicked.
Okay.
That was after Blue Man Group.
Okay.
No, we went someplace else. So what happened was we initially started talking, conversating on the phone, and then he went away to California for how many weeks? Or like 8 weeks or something like that. So there was a good long period from when we were first introduced to each other to when we actually could go out on a date. And so when he got back from California, he asked me to be his girlfriend and took me to see a play.
Okay. I guess I'm getting older.
Yeah.
And I forget.
So who did propose to whom? Who proposed to whom?
I proposed to her. So the proposal was beautiful. She came down. I was turning 30 years old. It was my golden birthday, 30 on 30, March 30th. I was turning 30, and I was pastoring in Orlando, and she was still in graduate school in Chicago, and she told her friends that she was going to come in to surprise me for my birthday, right? So at that time, I had already asked her mother for her hand in marriage. I just did not know how I was going to do it. So when her friends told me she was coming down to surprise me, so I said, my parents were there, my whole family was there. I said, I will use that opportunity to propose to her. So what I did was, she tried to come in and have me, they tried to give me like a surprise birthday cake, but I was already in the knowledge of, and I told them, instead of putting happy birthday, George, put on there, will you marry me? So when it came down and she saw the birthday cake, she looked at it, and I don't think she knew what was happening.
No.
You stumped a little there. Okay, so with that said, we are going to end this segment and come right back with our guest, the Fleurimonds. Thank you for tuning in. Welcome back to All That Matters, and our special guest is Pastor and Mrs. Fleurimonds. Our question to you is, what has been the greatest obstacle that you have faced in your marriage?
Definitely the loss of our mothers, back to back. That thing, it just caught us both by surprise. We were not prepared for it. I think that was that, and then maybe just some like real life hitting us. When you get married, you plan. Lewis, when you get married, you plan on conquering the world together, right? So I think for us was just Sonia. I think for us was just the adjustment of her going to school and having been moved around as pastors, as a pastoral family, and her not being able to fulfill like her dreams and her goals for her life. So, just sometimes just that realization could hurt. It hurts.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
well, we introduced you with making that statement, and you have right now alluded to it. with Sandra pursuing her dreams. I know you married, you have baby Louis. Um, do you have any regret, that is you, Sandra, in not having pursue your dreams, or is it still on hold? Is it something that you still want to pursue, or is it something that you realize that you can do without?
Um, it's definitely not a regret. I think that God's timing is perfect. Yes, I believe God's time is perfect, and He gives you the things that you need, and even things that you want. Um, it's still a contemplation. I still feel like I'm young enough to, still have a career change. So it is something that's still in contemplation. But more importantly, it my perspective on it has changed. Growing up, that was a lifelong dream, and now, I'm faced I'm faced with the reality of what my life is, and so my priorities are just different now. I thought I was going to be this scientist that cured Alzheimer's disease, and um, that's. I'm not saying that's not important,
Right.
but that's just not my priority right now. I truly am thankful for the opportunity to be home and raise my child. Like, that's something that, I know not all mothers have. And even though, sometimes it gets rough and frustrating, I honestly wouldn't trade it for the world to just see to see Lewis grow up. And, we went to the doctor today and she was just so impressed by his intellect and, all the amazing things that he was doing. And I know that's only because of God and honestly the hard work that we've been able to put in because we have the opportunity to be home with him. Now it's a different story when he gets ready to go to school, but in the meantime, we're enjoying this phase that we're in, and I'm satisfied. I'm satisfied.
Can you tell us something you wish you had known about your spouse before you committed to each other?
I wish I would have known that his socks will never make it into the laundry hamper. They will always be like, I didn't know that this is what happens when you aren't living with somebody, they will always be kicked off his feet as he's getting into bed, and they will always be on the side of the bed.
Okay.
And to be honest, that was something that actually really bothered me when we first got married, because I had lived by myself, and I'm just like, I just don't understand these socks. And it wasn't until I started talking to other married couples where they would tell me the the little quirks that their spouses had, that I realized this is completely normal. You're married to someone who's not you. And I think that's the blessing of, talking to other married couples. You realize what you're going through isn't just germane to your relationship, but you're married, you're living with somebody else. It's gonna be something. And I'm so thankful that, his thing is socks versus all of the other things it could be.
Yeah.
What was the question again? I want to make sure I get it correct.
Something you wish you had known about your spouse before you committed to each other.
Well, something I wish I would have known before I committed that would have changed. I don't think there's anything I wish I would have known. I think I pretty much knew everything that I needed to know,
Okay.
So I don't think there was anything that I wish I would have known.
Okay. We have young people who are watching, and some of them are probably contemplating being married. Some of them are probably engaged. What advice can you both give them in choosing a life partner? What are some of the things that they should look for?
Well, for me, since she's thinking about it, you gonna go? You're looking at Lewis. It's okay. He's in the refrigerator, by the way. All right. So some of the things for me would be simply, I think how one person is raised, similarities are important, right? So when we talk about being equally yoked, I think that's important. I think that at the end of the day, even though Sonia and I come from two different backgrounds, I'm West Indian, she's African American, right? But the fact that we're both Adventist Christians, raised in the church, parents are Christian, there are certain things that we know that we can walk together and be on the same journey and not have any conflict. So I think so many times people get in relationships and they don't realize that relationships themselves are already difficult, right? Let alone being in a relationship with someone that is altogether different from you, eats different from you, do drinks different from you, do may have habits that are not common to you. So that's one of the benefits I have. And then while she's making her way back, one of the things that I say all the time is that God cannot bless something that's already cursed, right? So many times we're trying to find someone and then try to ask God's blessing on it. I think we need to go from the other way around, is look for God's blessings already and then go into that direction.
Do you want to add anything?
I would say to definitely know yourself. Spend that time learning who you are as an individual, so that when you become marriage, you still have your individuality. That's one thing that I do appreciate about my husband. He doesn't look for me to be, I guess what you would say, the typical pastor's wife. He doesn't ask me to sing or anything that isn't comfortable for me. And so I appreciate that. And that's because as an individual, that's not, I'm Sonia before I'm Pastor Fleurimonds' wife.
Right.
So I think it's important that you recognize your strengths and your weaknesses as an individual, so that as a marriage, you can, you won't be surprised, and not even just be surprised by your spouse, but just you won't be surprised at how you're reacting to things, how you're changing things. Don't rush into it. It's literally a lifelong commitment. And
take your time.
Yeah, take your time, and appreciate your singlehood. I know, it may be hard in the moment when marriage is something that you're yearning for, but truly appreciate your singlehood, because once you're married,
that's it.
That's it.
To death do us part.
Right.
So tell us one thing that your spouse does that makes you feel glad or great that you are married to your spouse. Yes, that's my wife. That's my husband. Yes.
I just love that she takes care of me. Like literally, I mean, I know it sounds cliche, it sounds like very mundane, but I feel she's my compliment, and to a certain degree, her strengths are my weaknesses, and so being there for me when I have questions, when I need her to read something for me to proofread, when I or the little things like every morning I get up. And when I get back to the bedroom in the evening, the bed is made. I mean, someone's made it, and I didn't make it, right? So I know that's so she's always there to do those things that I really feel happy. Some people wouldn't do that. So,
Sandra?
It's so hard to pinpoint like a one thing. Like I just feel like he is just. One thing I guess I would say is the care that he has for his son. It's just refreshing to see. It's refreshing to see. Like, as we said, he's the morning person. So in the morning, Lewis gets up, he's getting up, and he's getting up with Lewis, and he's, making sure Lewis brushes his teeth and washes his face and has breakfast and has worship. And, so just to see the way that he cares for Lewis is something that's so refreshing and that I appreciate.
Okay. Going back to our young people, what purity advice do you have for our young people who are finding it challenging to wait till the wedding day?
I would give them the same advice that, that I say we incorporate in our lives, to make sure that our marriage is pure. Avoid the appearance of evil. Don't think that you can go to your boyfriend's house at 10 p.m. and sit down and, watch a movie.
Watch Netflix and not chill.
Sit down and watch a movie at 10 p.m. and, don't think that there's anything inappropriate that's a possibility to happen. Safeguard yourself against those things. If you want to watch a movie, go to your parents' house. You know what I mean?
There's power in numbers.
Yeah,
And to be honest with you, that's
for a while when it was in Barron Springs, when I was in Barron Springs, a lot of our interactions were with other people, right? So that's why that question you asked me earlier kind of threw me for a spin, because my first date with her, I believe, was after I initially saw her at the other person's game night. I said to myself, I'm going to do a game night at my house with my roommates for the sole purpose not to have games, but to invite her back from Chicago until we're having a game night. So that, like, stuff like that, and we like with my friends and her friends, we were always together, right? When we're Andrews, if we were going to go to Chicago to see her, we were all going together, right? So that way, I feel like there's safety numbers. There's safety numbers. Yeah.
Okay. And our final question to you this evening: at the end of it all, what matters to you?
I think for me, at the end of it all, what matters to me is, our salvation. What is it worth to have this lovely life on earth, that you're married to the man of your dreams, you have this beautiful family, and you can't enjoy it for eternity. So to me, that's the most important. That's what really matters, is to make sure that the life that you're living on earth is, one that you can enjoy it past, you can enjoy for eternity.
Pastor?
Same. Very. She took my answer. The word of God talks about, what is it for a man to gain the world and to lose his soul? So I think at the end of the day, salvation is key. And, I think that's one of the things I'm looking forward to, having my family with me for eternity, right? My son, my children, my wife, just to be in a perfect world where we can truly, like, really enjoy marriage how it was created. Because even now, even though marriage is a beautiful thing, marriage in this reality, we have ups and downs because we're living in an imperfect world. And so I look forward to this Edenic kind of relationship where before the fall of sin, where Adam and Eve were truly one. And I know that kind of relationship we will not get to until we get to heaven.
And in your 8 years of marriage, is there anything that you've wanted to say to each other that you've not said while having this interview? It just comes to you, and would you mind taking this opportunity just to say to each other?
For me, it's not something that I haven't said. I haven't said already, but I think it's worth repeating. I love you. I'm truly thankful for you. There are no regrets. I'm happy that you are my husband.
All right. Well, since I didn't say I love you today, I'll say I love you.
Well, thank you very much for joining into All That Matters, and tune in next time where we are going to have another couple where we are going to learn the dynamics of their relationship. And a special thank you to the Fleurimonds. Thanks for joining us this evening, guys. Bye. Do you just randomly make each other laugh? Couples who are friends tend to make each other laugh, and we know that laughter is really good for the soul. So do you make your spouse laugh? Have you ever just shared a silly joke to make him or her bellow out? Try it. You'll find out that laughter is really a good distressor. So here's from us to you.
So this woman, she was dating. So, she went out there and she met a guy. So she decided to take the guy home. So she took the guy, they went home. And when they got home, the guy said, you will have to get undressed.
Okay.
She said, okay. So she went out and she took off her clothes. And then the guy said, that's not all. Now I have to tie you up. She said, what's that? Are we up for something tonight? So he went ahead and he tied her up. When he was through, he said, now I have to blindfold you.
Oh, wow. Okay.
She said, oh my goodness, what are we up to? So he went ahead and he blindfolded her. And when he was through, guess what?
What?
You know, the guy went and the guy took the lady's fridge, the lady's stereo, the lady's stove, and he even stole the lady's car. So of course she dumped this guy because this guy was no good. So she went back out again, you know, dating, and she met another guy. So she took that guy home. And when they got home, she said, this time I'm going to ask you to undress.
Oh, okay, smart one now.
Yeah, so the guy went ahead and the guy took off his shoes. So she said, after he took off his shoes, she said, wait, what's wrong with your toes? He said, when I was a little child, I had polio. She said, you mean polio? He said, no, polio. So he went ahead. Then she said, okay, now pull down your pants.
Yeah.
So the guy brought down his pants. And she said, wait, what's wrong with your knees? He said, when I was a child, I had nizzle. She said, you mean nizzle? He said, no, nizzle.
That's funny.
But anyway, so she said, now bring down your underpants. So the guy went ahead and the guy brought down his underpants. And she said, wait. Why didn't you tell me when you was a child you had a small penis?
Everyone, this has been all that matters.